Any gigabyte capacity tier of the one user has uploaded a day before YouTube decided to list a benefit. That said, the biggest flaw in their system is ability. They don't accept 1 petabyte of YouTube servers or data centers. That's very useful. I mean, how much would an internet cost to YouTube really just in storage costs, not bandwidth? wait, no, you said a 20 terabyte drive would cost $16,000. That's a straight up fucking lie. I mean, I believe maybe $1,000 at most, but not 16,000. What are you talking about?
Sort of phenomenal. For instance, using a figure of $1,000 for 20 TB drive, memory drive needed each total capacity per drive, total capacity per drive, 1024 TB, capacity per drive 20 TB, number of drives needed 24 TB, 120 TB number of drives needed to chill at 20 drives, price priced per drive $9,000, total hardware cost AK51.2, drives $1,000.
It's spaghetti time. Let's eat some spaghetti. Oh yeah, it's spaghetti time, Aslan. Oh, it's really hot right now. Mmm. Mmm. That's some good spaghetti. Mm-mm-mm. Ooh. Ooh. Meow. Meow.
Let's pick up this chick at the park and take her to the trail and have his way with her.
Why'd you guys say that?
You're not even crying. There's no tears.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I know you don't hate to be like that. I mean,
And how old was she actually? Oh. We're catching an EDP today, man. But not just any regular EDP, y'all. We're catching a Roblox EDP, man. He's messaging what he thinks is a 15-year-old girl, and he's trying to meet up with her. So we're going to go intercept that. And the crazy part about it, he has Telegram. If one of these preds is trying to meet up with a young girl, and they have Telegram, it's a 99% chance that they have freaking CP on their stuff. Hopefully, we can get an arrest today. Alex, what's good?
That's good, dude.
How you doing, man? We're live right now. Twitch.
Okay, I'll watch my language. Hey, guys.
And then also, for this one, I'm going to turn TTS on so you guys can say what y'all want about it. Why are you streaming with the racist guy who caught EDP?
Well, dude, it's like yin and yang. One racist guy, one non-racist guy. We're coming together and ending racism, bro.
Oh my God, someone said your driver looks like he could be one. This man has over like 200 convictions on EDPs. What do you think about Vitaly?
Fuck that guy.
Really? Do you think his pride catchers are real?
Probably. I think what it is, though, the reason they get so many at once, I don't think they're getting them to meet up for sexual stuff. I bet you they're probably saying in the chats, like, come meet me right now, come meet me right now. I'm 15, but they don't, like, wait till they get sexual. That's why I think they get so many, because they don't really care, right? So I don't think he's faking. I just think he cuts corners. You got some good shit.
Is that that's it?
Yeah.
Let me see pyramids. Dang, I want to show them a picture of him. Imagine a more fat Osmongold. So an obese rat. Oh my gosh. Can you tell them what all he said?
Basically, this pedo wants to pick up this chick at the park and take her to the trail and have his way with her. And he also cannot afford a condom, and he's using his dad's car at 25 years old to go pick her up.
He has the decoy as a screensaver, chat. Like, this boy's in love. Oh my gosh. He also has the Twitch. So afterwards, if I shout out his Twitch, he's not ready. He might get ready. Right. So after that's him. That's him.
Dude, we'll go out with football. I gotta be sushi. Okay. We're just gonna run around in this direction.
Yeah, let's pass that pigskin. Oh, yeah. Pee-wee ass. Ooh, that's nice. We're definitely not about to catch a P3,
We truly want to get this resolved with you, and not just get this resolved as if we're shaming you or anything like that. Obviously, do you think if we were here to yell at you, I think we would have done that at this point, right? Okay. Besides Lily, how many say 15-year-olds were kind of hitting you up?
No, it's not really much.
And what's that like? So 1 or 2, 10, 20?
1, 2.
So there was.
And then I don't really message them anything.
Okay, so basically, there's a few people kind of at the borderline age that kind of hit you up. What about them kind of enticed you to message them back or message them? Like,
It's just a lot of people just put shit in my head saying it's okay. Some people say it's not. I know exactly it's not. I feel like I'm 27.
so when did Steve first start getting introduced to you? Like, person on the ring team, David's on the ring team online. Like, where did you see that happen? What's the other side?
So what happens when a criminal who went to prison and a former NYPD detective spent 100 days locked inside a prison built by Mr. Beast, the biggest YouTuber in the world? I sat down with my co-contestant, Lenny Bradley, to break down our insane journey, how we survived the 100-day challenge, what it was really like behind the scenes, winning $240,000 each, and his first impression. You don't want to miss this one. Lenny, welcome. And it's so crazy that we were in the Mr. Beast video together. I was describing everything I do for work, and now here we are sitting here a couple months later.
Bro, I mean, you're savage, bro. You're absolute savage. When you first told me, obviously, the first person, you asked what they do. You know, you told me you got a podcast. I was thinking it was something very small, you know, just something you did as a hobby. But as time went on, you started telling me what it is that you had going on and what you build, and you have sponsors, and you were able to give me advice on how to build mine. I was like, yo, who am I sitting across from right now? Like, this is crazy. Because I've always wanted to podcast, and I have But I always treated it as a hobby or something that I just do for fun. I didn't think that I would monetize and make money from it. So to be able to be presented with the possibilities that can come from it by someone that is deep in it and making it happen was amazing. And you were super casual about it. There wasn't any braggadocious or ego to it or anything like that. So I was just like, this is amazing. And just being here today and showing me everything, I couldn't wipe the smile off my face. Because for you to explain everything that was going on and what you had, I'm like, yo, what kind of time is this dude on to be able to build out a prison cell in studio and got Mike Tyson as a sponsor? Like, that's wild. And just seeing everything, bro. Picturing it in my head and seeing your videos. I've been stalking you. You know what I'm saying? I've been stalking you because you dropped so much game. And then when I saw how professional you look and just how good you are at being in an interview and describe such dramatic story from people, I was just like, this. Now I see why you become successful, you know? And walking around and seeing all that you've done, all of your guests, and your level of hospitality is unlike anything I've ever experienced. You know, even with being in the challenge, it was cool. You know, I didn't get to see the beach studios or anything like that. So this is like my version of being able to see something similar. Or you want to come up and this is like, I want to do whatever it takes to be able to emulate something similar to what it is that you have done. And so I'm proud of you, man. I mean, you built this before I even knew you, but to kind of see you as like a brother / son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a brother / son, younger brother / son, and then to come here and be like, yo, this.
We definitely have an interesting relationship because I've come to look at you as like a father figure, but also we're bros too.
Yeah.
Like it has that brotherly type love. And for the audience that's listening, this episode's a little bit different today. This is the day after the Mr. Beast video dropped. I spent 100 days in prison with Lenny, who's a former cop. You guys got to go check out that episode on YouTube if you haven't seen it already. You know, afterwards to have this conversation, because a lot of the contestants that do these types of things don't have a podcast or haven't been on social media already. So what I find interesting is that I already have this whole brand created around prison, and I'm doing this. This is my everyday life. I mean, we went upstairs. You saw the prison cell. That was created before the Mr. Beast thing. I had the deodorants. I had the toothbrushes. I had all the things we used in the thing, which is probably one of the reasons why I got cast, because I showed the casting people that whole set. But that's all stuff like me and you talked about during the course of the 100 days. And for me, I thought it was really important to tell you as much as I could about how to do things, because I didn't have that when I first started. Everyone wanted to gatekeep, or there was not information out there. There wasn't ChatGPT at the time. There was all these things I didn't know how to do, and I learned on my own. So it's important to be able to give that back to not only you, but the guests that come on the show. Whenever we have a guest that comes on the show that wants to start a podcast or wants to get into content, we always give them game and put them on and let them use the second studio over here, so it's mutually beneficial.
Yeah, man, it's truly a blessing I tell people all the time, I've always wanted to do content creation and podcasting, like I said. Before going into that challenge and leaving law enforcement, I did 17 years in the New York City Police Department. And I left 3 years before receiving a full pension because I was called by God to do something else. And I thought that calling was for me to do real estate. So I went all in with that. And I had some highs and some lows. I would say more lows than highs. The biggest low was being robbed by my business partners for $100,000. And it put me in a huge slump. It set me back in a major way. But a large part of my journey is having faith and focusing on my purpose. Fast forward to me continuing to post videos or constantly posting videos on Instagram, and then being reached out via DM to be a part of the Mr. Beast Challenge. And then to be placed in there with somebody that creates content full time, that is and was openly willing to share everything, is a blessing. And it really just streamlined things to show me what God needed me to do and who He needs me to be. The experience and being picked out of thousands of other cops that are on social media is wild. Then to be in there with somebody, once again, that is killing it, and to be able to talk to you about this stuff and what camera to use. You know what I'm saying? Like, what should I talk about? How do I load up videos? How do you build traction? How do I make myself go viral? And to be able to speak to you about that, it's no mistakes.
And I think that's what we really first bonded over too, like that first day, because we spent 2,400 hours together over 100 days, and that gets put into a 30-minute video. People aren't going to see the full conversations that we had, but that first day, really the first, I think 2 or 3 days, because we didn't make anything.
Yeah.
We didn't build anything. We didn't have activities. We just talked. We sat at that table that first day when we were waiting for dinner for like 6 hours, and we just talked. And a lot of people don't realize I'm super introverted. Like, I'm good on camera with this, and I'm outspoken and I can do these things, but meeting new people, like we were talking about, like going to a bar and meeting people organically, that's not me.
Right.
I've never been good at that. So to put me in a situation where I don't know this person at all, and I have to sit there and make conversation, it's challenging, at least for me to do that. And it just felt very organic, and we were able to talk and hit it off. And a lot of it had to do with, I think, that you were interested in my stuff, I was interested in your stuff, and I interviewed cops before. So I think that helped me as well, that it was a familiar situation. I'm sure a big question like people will have on my side of this type of content is, did I have any issue being with a cop? And I have no problems with law enforcement. I interview law enforcement. So being presented with a cop, which, by the way, I had no idea it was going to be a cop. We didn't know until the blindfolds came off what the situation was. I had never met you in my life. I didn't know of you. I didn't know anything. And so to me, what people will think is going to be a hard part of the aspect, that was very easy for me, because I don't get involved in like the politic aspect of cops versus inmates or this and that. To me, it didn't matter. And that just goes to show the Beast team casted it appropriately, because if they got the wrong inmate from the prison content world, that would have been a problem on day one.
Right. Yeah. I had no clue either. I tried to drum up as much as I could just to kind of plan and to get an idea of what was going to happen. And I had no idea until we were in the trailer and I saw correction officer uniforms. And I was like, all right, I'm going to prison. I'm definitely going to prison. I talked to my wife, and I was like, yeah, I think this video is going to be about prison. And, I said, I love you. I said, I'll be talking to you. And that was it. And then I started putting on the uniform. They had me put on the uniform, blindfolded me, and transported us to the location. They placed me in a van with you. What was it, like a van or a truck or something like that?
Right? They kept moving us around. We were in a car, then we went into a go-kart or like a golf cart, and then from the side-by-sides that we'd see them whipping around, and then from there we went into an actual prison van, which we're not even going to see, or we'll see for the first time once the video comes out, but we had no idea what this van looked like. We're blindfolded, and they just said, don't talk to the person. There's someone there, don't talk to him.
Exactly.
And I thought you were an old white guy, because you said like, okay, in like a deep voice. I was like, okay, I'm with like some old white guy. That was my first initial impression.
Yeah.
What was your first impression when you saw me for the first time and you knew I was a criminal?
Oh, man. My first impression was when they took us out of the van. And being that we were blindfolded, there was a little bit of space under the blindfold. So I'm trying to see whatever it is that I can. All I can really see is my feet, my legs. And then if I looked over to my right, I looked over to my left, I could see you. But what I saw were your arms. And I saw a bunch of tattoos on them. I was like, oh, man. So as I'm looking under the blindfold, I'm trying to make sure you don't have any, like, crazy Aryan paraphernalia on your arms or something like that. And, you know, those swastikas, nothing crazy. So I'm thinking to myself, ooh, like, all right, I'm in here with a criminal. This is definitely going to be a criminal. I just got to make sure that I keep myself composed. Think anything. I don't want to think anything crazy too soon. Right? And we walk into the prison, and once we walk into the prison, they take off our blindfolds, and I look over at you. First, I'm looking at your arms again, then I look up, and my guard just dropped. I was like, okay, like, he looks like a good guy. He looks like a cool dude, and it just made me feel super relaxed. It's almost like the same scenario I told you about when I went to the police academy. They assign everybody a company, which is pretty much in class, and they have you in an auditorium, and with being in that auditorium, there are a bunch of police officers that are instructors that are standing at the edge of the row, and whatever company that you're associated with, that's the row that you go to. But when they called my company and told us to go to a certain row, my instructor was standing there, and as soon as I saw him, my whole guard just dropped once again. It was the same type of deal, and I knew that I was going to be all right. So I say this to say that once I saw you, and I could see your demeanor, I was like, all right, I'm going to make it through these 100 days. And I know that that this is going to be interesting, but I felt nice, I felt calm, and I wasn't really worried about anything. But the tattoos, they did throw me off at first.
Yeah, people always say my body doesn't match my face. I got ripped for that all the time. Like, if you look at me from the bottom up, like if you're zooming in and then going up, it doesn't match it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more built, and then my face is just like this baby face. I grew facial hair for the first time ever, and I was like to you, Lenny, I want to grow it the whole 100 days, and we only like trimmed it up once. You trimmed me up at day 50.
Yep.
But other than that, I was looking wild when I got out. Back to baby facey, and when I posted the photo, lighting me up over it. They were not happy with it.
They were happy with the goatee.
They weren't with it. We tried doing the Michael Scofield.
You had the Schofield, you had the goatee. Honestly, I think that made you look. I think that made you look a little more serious.
Yeah, I'm seeing all of the leaked footage from streamers and stuff, because they started coming in like right around that day 50. So where I was already I had the short hair, really short. I hadn't had that short in a while, and then the goatee, and it looked a little scary, you know.
Yeah, I think you was looking like your part of being, in a federal prison for 3 years.
Yeah, it's so interesting watching like all the leaked footage, and because we were living in that, and we would call it the Dog and Cody Show. What the streamers would call it.
The Dog and Cody Show. It's the Dog and Cody Show.
I think my favorite one was the guy that built the sets that and were barking.
Oh yeah.
We loved the bark with Jimmy Higgins.
Yeah, I like Jimmy's reaction. He was like, all right, guys. We used to love barking at Jimmy. We had a beef with Warden Jimmy. So that was our way of getting back at him whenever we saw him.
And I think that's what the audience is going to see a lot too, is me arguing with Jimmy so many times. I wasn't afraid at all. Like, I just fought with Jimmy every challenge I possibly could, and it's something different, than what I think the audience that normally watches the videos is going to be used to.
Yeah, I liked it because after you would do that, compared to the other videos that we would see. Sorry, other contestants, but everybody was it seemed like they were either timid or it was just like, okay, let me go along with it. But you was just always pushback. It was always pushback. I would look like, yo, this dude is crazy, bro. Like, this dude is crazy for real. But I thought it was awesome because even after the challenge, we were still talking about the fact that you were going back and forth with them. And the funniest one was with the TV, bro. When they wheeled out the TV and you were like, boy, Jimmy, my you freaking delirious? Like, that was raw emotion. There was no acting with that. I was just looking at you. I was like, yo, this dude is wild.
Yeah, it's something that everyone needs to know is that none of this is scripted. Like, like, Jimmy shows up, you're on mic and camera 24 hours a day. There's no, like, you're filming during the day and then at night you get to use a phone or a laptop. I didn't get to talk to my family for 80 days when I begged him for that FaceTime on day 80.
That's right.
But other than that, there's no, like, when I got dogged on day 50 for the visit, when I went to solitary, I'm thinking, okay, we're doing this, we're filming this, and then they're just going to show me the family. They got the cut, it's cool. Hours pass by. Everything is real, legit.
It's legit.
Nothing.
It's legit. And for y'all that are in the comments, oh yeah, I can do 100 days. 100 days is gonna be nothing. I'm getting free food. I'm doing this. Yeah. When you're in there and you have no contact with the world, and you're missing your family if you do have a family, and you're not eating what you want, it's hard. When you're not sleeping in a scenario or environment that you're used to, it's not an easy feat. So the guys and the gals in the comment section that think that you're going to be able to do something like this, if you do get selected, you may be able to, but it's not a takeover. You get to see them. Everything was 100% legit. And I'm kind of glad that they made it that way, even though it was tough, because it shows our true emotion. It brought out our true emotion. When I saw my family, and I was crying, and I covered up my face, that's raw emotion from me not seeing them, from me wondering how they were. And a lot of people might not think that these videos are real, but I'll tell you what, ours was 100%.
So from my perspective, when I got casted in it, I never seen a Mr. Beast video ever. I started watching him. I knew of him, and I started watching him once I got casted, and I was watching the 100-day videos specifically because I knew this was going to be a 100-day video, but they didn't say exactly what. They just said it's more than one person, and you're going to be away for probably 100 days. But I had a feeling it was going to be prison-related because why else would they reach out to me when there's all these other influencers in the world? So it's got to be prison-related. And then when I got to the trailer, I saw the orange jumpsuit and the tighty whities and the shoes. I'm like, oh my God, I'm back. Like, they made it so real.
Yeah.
Having that all, put out and whatnot. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, you know what? This is going to be easy. I'm going back to prison. When I first got casted and I told, Matt and a couple of my friends, they were like, the hardest part is going to be for you to have to convince the guy that you're with to stay. And I thought all along it was going to be an ordinary citizen because that would make the most sense. I don't think they were going to put two inmates together. Had no idea it was ever going to be a cop. I think that makes it even better. Yeah. I was thinking maybe a prison guard, but I thought definitely an ordinary citizen. So when I got to the trailer and I saw that outlaid, because we hadn't seen the prison or anything, then I was like, okay, I was right. This is prison related. I got this, just like my friend said, hardest thing's going to be to convince the guy to stay. Little did I know is that you would have a way easier time than me. I think at those first 10 days, bro, I almost quit. Probably 10 times. And then all throughout the video, I want to quit. I'm so glad I didn't. And I think what really kept me going was not necessarily the money. It was more about what this video could do for me afterwards. And I wasn't going to destroy the relationship with the Beast team by just leaving and the video not getting posted, or I just knew how important this video was to my content and to the bigger picture of things, and really breaking down the barriers that people and the feelings people have against inmates, because this is a whole different perspective of it. And I knew also going into it that I could never, my actions had to be based on not being the bad guy, which is how I played the game throughout the thing. And we see that in the first challenge when Jimmy has me almost in tears, making a decision to spend $25,000 to get the rec yard. And I literally almost cried. My face is getting red, and you guys will see it. It was really emotional because I didn't want to go into this being that bad person that everyone's going to expect that criminal to be. And you see that all the way through day 99 when we're faced with that last challenge. Because they pit us against each other the whole entire time. Every challenge, every day, it's me versus you. They never let us do anything as a team except for The Rock. But even in a way, it was me versus you too.
Right.
But yeah, I did not realize I was going to have the harder time than you during this experience.
Yeah, I found that to be very ironic as well. But if you don't recall, not more than probably 10 minutes after taking off those blindfolds, when we went to the back to look at that money that was in that tin, you and I shook each other's hands, and we agreed to not screw each other over. And we said that we were going to push through no matter what. I appreciate you for standing on your word, and I'm sure you feel the same, which is why I'm here right now. But yeah, for me, the only thing that got me through was my faith. Praying every day, praying multiple times throughout the course of the day. Having 3 kids, an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 3-year-old, and a wife did not make it easy at all. And
For the first time since the August trade deadline came and went without a deal, the leaders of Canada and the U.S. spoke on the phone. CTV's Judy Trin is standing by in Washington tonight. And Judy, what do we know about this call between the Prime Minister and the U.S. President?
Omar, sources in the Prime Minister's office tell CTV News that it was Mark Carney who initiated this call to President Trump and that they had a lengthy and substantive conversation. In a readout, the conversation between Carney and Donald Trump was described as productive and wide-ranging. The leaders discussed trade challenges and long-term peace and security from Ukraine. Carney made contact on the same day Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand met with Secretary of State Marco Rubio in person for the first time. The State Department says the two discussed Haiti, Hamas, peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, and countering China. The U.S. trade war wasn't in the readout, but analysts say it likely loomed over the talks.
In Donald Trump's world, everything is linked to everything else.
Good evening again, Dumageddon City, Philippines. Good morning, America. This is Bruce coming at you again with my big fat Filipino life. Got a lot of great content. I've got about 5 videos that are going to be premiering here in the next week. And we're going to talk about the expat situation, the YouTuber situation, the culture here, get into a little bit of money matters, where we're going to talk a little bit about my budget, my retirement plans. Got a lot of things coming, so a lot of the videos I've put out are just kind of a prelude to that. One thing I wanted to talk about, and this is something that a lot of people wondered about, is, I went to the Dumageddon prison yesterday, today being August the 21st. First of all, I want to thank all the wonderful guards that I met, the people that received us there. I was able to walk into the prison, even shot a few basketballs with some of the prisoners, talk with some of them. We brought in some gifts, like sandals, shower shoes, toothbrushes, toothpaste, things that, soap, what else? Some t-shirts, things that some of these guys really appreciated well, because a lot of these guys in this prison have absolutely nothing, and they have no resources because their families may be far away in places like Manila, and they can't really help them, and they're too far away. And the conditions in the Filipino prison are nothing like I could have ever imagined in America. When I went into that prison, I could not have imagined what I saw. I never could have imagined it. Amazing the way these guys live and the way they live together, and saw the segments. One thing that really stood out to me was how friendly the prisoners were to me, how happy they were to see me. What we did discover is that when you bring in gifts like that, you give them to the individual, because there's a lot of bartering going on, and hoarding of it, and just certain things that you might see in a regular prison. But the Filipinos are gentle people, wonderful people. They have a lot of love in their hearts, and you feel their happiness. And you see Filipinos out here just in the streets that might have next to nothing, yet they're so full of love and smiles and happiness. Rarely see an angry Filipino. It's just odd. And that's why when Americans come over here to the Philippines, they don't know how to receive someone who's boisterous and loud and complains about the service and is snappy and wants something now, and in this fast-paced society we live in America. I would never have guessed in talking to some of these guys that they were criminals who were serving long sentences. But don't get me wrong, these guys, a lot of them aren't perfect individuals, and there are a lot of people that didn't interact with them, that stayed off in the distance. You don't know what that might be. I also don't know what some of the crimes were. It was an absolute joy to interact and be allowed into the prison. It was a joy to talk to some of these guys, listen to some of their stories. But to see the way they lived was just an eye-opener to me. And prisoners in America have no idea how challenging it can be in other places. Definitely a different world. The conditions were just eye-popping to me. So when I first walked in, I walked past a cell which I believe is considered a holding cell. It's kind of like a solitary confinement. These are guys not released yet out into the general population. This wasn't a real big prison. I probably saw maybe 100 prisoners while I was there. There were 5 of us guys, farmers that went in to visit the prison and were able to drop off the gifts. We each donated about 5,000 pesos each. The appreciation was well received. The friendliness of the prison staff was just wonderful.
Don't buy the Kanye money. Do anything but buy the Kanye money. Don't buy it. Don't money your money with it. Don't money your money with it. Don't connect your wallet. Don't log in. Don't do anything with the Kanye money. Stay away from it. I don't know how to open this video other than saying that. I just felt like that should be said off the bat. But yes, hi everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and once again on this channel, we are talking about the one, the only, Mr. Kanye West, or as he is also known, Ye. Now, look, as of late, it's been no secret that my will to cover Kanye West, my interest in covering him as an artist, and it's been kind of shaky, and honestly, there hasn't really been a whole lot to cover. Oh, what do you mean, Anthony? You don't want to talk about the Bully album or the Cuck album? You don't want to analyze the artistic merit of the fucking Highland song? However, one thing I will do is stop and take a moment to discuss what the hell is going on here. Let's just go to the clip.
The official Yeezy token just dropped.
So there you have Ye right there, looking absolutely depressed and emotional and maybe in a way defeated, letting us all know that the Yeezy token is officially here, officially out, officially available. And for somebody whose behavior over the past couple of years has obviously been very odd, even this in itself seems very odd, and for a handful of reasons. First off, Ye has at least historically seemed a little bit skeptical of the crypto world. I'm sure many of you remember that infamous Instagram post where he said he had no interest in doing anything with NFTs yet. There was also that weird response he gave to Jim Jones on Twitter that one time. I guess was like starting to lay the groundwork for getting Kanye engrossed in crypto in some way, shape, or form, but a guy couldn't give him a PDF, which, sidebar, might actually be the way to pull Kanye at the weird conspiratorial rabbit holes he's been crawling into as of late. Like, if we could give him all the information he needs in a PDF, maybe he'll be on a better path. I don't know. What's for sure, nobody has given Kanye a PDF to give him to grasp why having anything to do with crypto at this point would be just like a bad idea. Because in 2025, we are currently in an era where we have been subjected to years at this point, years of crypto and NFT scams and rug pulls, people getting ripped off left and right. And not only that, but like numerous influencer and even musician fallouts who, signed on to these really grimy, stupid crypto coin, shitcoin arrangements, only to have their fans ripped off in the process. Like, none of this is new at this point. None of this is exciting. You even have people like CoffeeZilla who have built entire careers over calling this stuff out. In fact, he tweeted publicly telling people not to buy the Yeezy coin. It's just funny to me that Kanye would get in on this now, because who the hell would buy into this? Especially given his reputation at this point. This man can't even finish a proper album in his current state. He's supposed to manage a whole fucking crypto coin successfully. And at the time of me shooting this video, like pretty immediately after this coin was released and announced, apparently it's crashed 70%. So yeah, this coin, this venture, this whatever the hell you want to call it, pretty much doomed from the start. Even though I don't really anticipate it's going to go anywhere from here, it might still be funny to go over the ways in which Kanye is kind of like laying the whole thing out, pitching it. As he says on the website where he's trying to get people in on this, Yeezy money is a concept to put you in control, free from centralized authority. Kanye once again trying to appeal to people on the front of like being against the grain, being a free thinker, being a guy who's, telling it like it is, and also trying to get you to spend your money on very much not real money, which will be accepted basically nowhere. I mean, maybe you can use Yeezy money to buy some Yeezy slides or Yeezy tights or some bullshit like that. Yeezy is the currency that powers all transactions within Yeezy money. Okay, I think I'm grasping that concept. There's also this section of
So episode 3 of the new season of South Park just came out, and with it we have some seemingly major changes to South Park moving forward. The biggest of which being that it seems like at long last they have finally decided to move on from Integrity Farms, Randy's weed farm, which has been a major focus of the show over the last 4 seasons. I gotta say, I was genuinely surprised by this. If you've kept up with South Park over these last 7 years, you would know that Integrity Farms has been very divisive among the fan base. I mean, some people loved it, but a lot of people hated just how heavily the show focused on it. And of course, Matt and Trey, being Matt and Trey, knew this and essentially trolled the audience over and over again by hinting at the end of Integrity Farms in many episodes, only to pull the rug out from under us every single time. So when the end of this episode seemed to show Integrity Farms being gone for good, not gonna lie, it made me a little sad. I mean, this is the end of a pretty major era of the show. Certainly one that I wasn't the biggest fan of, but Integrity did produce some gems during its time, and I've become so accustomed to it that I have no clue what the show will look like without it. But in terms of my feelings on this episode as a whole, I thought it was just okay. I know this is shocking to hear coming from the #1 South Park blazer on the internet, but just because I love the show doesn't mean I think everything they do is groundbreaking and hilarious. I'll go more into what I liked and disliked about the episode as we talk about it, but for the most part, I thought it was just kind of mid. It definitely had a lot of funny ideas and relevant commentary covering things like tech companies powered by AI, the president receiving gifts which are totally not bribes from all these CEOs and world leaders, and how AI is making all of us feel smarter while actually making us significantly dumber. As I'll talk about, I feel like these ideas had the potential to be very funny, they just weren't super funny. So, with the intro out of the way, let's get into it. The episode opens and we're back at Integrity Farms, where Randy is shooting an ad for his business featuring all of his hardworking Mexicans. We immediately get a call back to the previous episode as all of his Mexicans are rounded up by ICE and taken away. Fortunately, there were no puppies on the premises because we all know how that would have ended. Randy tells the family that due to the government constantly deporting his workers, they might have to sell the farm. Now, as I mentioned, I was immediately skeptical of this, considering Randy has said this several times over the course of the Integrity Farms arc, and of course he always finds a way out of it. But the rest of the family seems pretty excited at the prospect of finally leaving the farm, to which Randy is surprised.
Yes, we did.
I found Randy's delivery here to be pretty funny because not only have the rest of his family told him probably dozens of times how much they hate being on the farm, the fans themselves have been voicing their complaints for years now, and I think this is Matt and Trey continuing to troll the audience by playing dumb and being like, wait, really? You guys don't like this? We never knew that. Why didn't you guys tell us? Randy tells Sharon that they should talk to someone about their marital issues, and by that, of course, he means talking to ChatGPT about it. They portray ChatGPT as just constantly sucking up to whoever is using it, telling Randy what good ideas he has, and encouraging him to fix the issues with the farm instead of just moving on.
You're really smart, and you've lost a lot of your workforce because of government crackdowns. We just need to brainstorm some new business models.
This idea of sycophancy is kind of the major recurring theme throughout the episode.
A federal judge denies the Department of Justice request to unseal the Epstein files.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
And this judge denies the request because he says the DOJ already has hundreds of thousands of files in possession. Hundreds of thousands. The judge in question, Richard Berman, is adamant about the fact that the Department of Justice already has enough files to release right now, if they wanted to. In his own words, the government has 100,000 pages compared to the 70 or so pages they want him to release. I don't understand why it is quite literally easier to get files from a murder investigation than it is to get files on this guy. The judge also stated that the Trump administration failed to give sufficient notice to the victims for the files to be released. This implies that there was a notice the Trump administration could have given to the victims if they actually wanted the files out. This man has the Department of Justice as his legal counsel, a $30 billion budget, and not one of these 110,554 positions, said Mr. President. The judge might release those files if we give the victims enough notice for him to release them. I just personally don't believe that. And where's the transcript?
Full-time Discord mod and part-time tier 3 sub. But when he's not working, he likes to go and meet up with underage company. Okay, on today's explosive episode, we see a grown man break down into tears. And somehow, this tier 3 sub had a long-time girlfriend. So we sadly had to break the news that her man was trying to cheat on her with a 13-year-old. All on today's episode of You Watch. What's good with y'all boys? So we're outside of a Walmart right now. We're gonna be meeting up with our friend Jacob. Jacob's a pretty bad dude, y'all. He's coming here to meet a 13-year-old girl. He's coming to pick her up and everything. And during my investigation on him, come to find out that he actually has a long-time girlfriend, man. But he's also just a bad dude just in general, man. Like, the person that I talked to about him, I gave him some information. That person thought that they were in-game. You know, it sucks to see, but this is gonna be the in-game for Jacob. We got the big man Zoe here. We also got the body cam footage, man, so we'll be able to do a little bit of espionage. So I'm gonna go on and hide in this car, man, because that will be here in a minute. Just got confirmation that our friend Jacob is here right now. Just take inside towards the back. Yeah, look out that window. I just want to cross. Do you see him? Okay, we see him. Hey, Eat too much. We know why you're doing that. Take my hand in. I'm coming back to this. I don't want anyone else to get involved. What? The camera? Yeah. Okay, then we can stop playing. Give it a camera. Oh man, I love Jesus, man. You love Jesus? Do you want to go outside? This is just for our safety. Listen, I don't want anyone else to figure out this. I don't want your family or anybody. I don't want Veronica. I don't want anybody to figure out. We can go outside. That's cool. Is it not your girl? It's okay. I don't want your family to find out. Can we just have a conversation? You want to go outside or what do you want to do? No. Listen, I'm not cop. I'm not police.
Obviously, trust me, the whole way over here, I'm thinking myself.
I don't listen. I don't think you're a bad dude, man. The reason why I'm talking to you like this is if I thought you're a bad dude, I want to be talking to you. I would just give you some hope. I don't think you're a bad dude. I just want to have a conversation, and I think we can right these wrongs, okay? So, do you want to have a conversation in here, or do you want us to have a conversation outside?
I don't know. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not even here.
Oh, you did. You did. You don't have to cry. You did.
That's the whole time I'm doing, but we were just thinking, like,
what was your mindset?
I finished that relatively after that.
Here, let's go walk over by the garden section, okay? Listen, man, we all make mistakes. You know? Have something like this happen before? No, you.
Do something like that. So that's why I felt this was competitive.
Well, let's talk about that friendly, man. What happened with that friendly?
Where are we now?
We're in a catastrophic situation.
Catastrophe seems strong.
Yeah. Well, I think you can make arguments the economy has a lot of problems. And there's a paradoxical problem with the economy, and that is you can go up to any 7-Eleven and they can't hire. There's help wanted ads. So it looks like an economy burning hot. But if you look at the high end, there's layoffs going everywhere. So there's foreshadowing of real trouble coming.
So college graduates, even Ivy League graduates, humanities graduates, not engineers or chemists, but you know, the business guy or whatever, they're having trouble getting jobs.
The kind that they're trained for, certainly.
Yeah, but there's just, I mean, I know a bunch of them, but you see it in the numbers. Educated 22-year-olds are having trouble getting jobs, but 7-Eleven can't hire.
Right.
So what is that?
Well, so this is a normal sort of, it's a distorted version of I think, a recession coming or we're in. Now, where it gets complicated is if you don't believe the inflation numbers, which I don't, and you've got Chapwood Index, shadow stats that give inflation numbers that are probably on average 6 or 7% higher than the official numbers. The official numbers are corrupted. And I don't want to go into it because it's technical, but
the CPI is...
The CPI is crap.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, here's the problem. If the economy's been growing 2.5%, the inflation numbers are underestimated by 4. It means we've been in a recession the whole time.
Yeah, moving backwards.
We're moving backward. You say, well, that can't happen. The recessions last, 2 quarters, whatever. And I go, no, the British Empire was in a recession for a century. Right? They just shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. And so no, you can be in a slow decline. But that's not that's not the catastrophe.
Recession means decline.
Yeah, actually, I think it's a stupid word because it's like you play golf. Well, if you play golf, you go down into the sand trap. According to the definition of a recession, once you start climbing out, you're out. You ask a golfer if he's out of the sand trap because he's on the upslope of the trap, he's not.
No.
So the fact that your economy's not growing again, if it's coming out of a hole, as far as I'm concerned, you're not out until you've gotten past that previous period.
Until you're apart.
Yeah, so you're apart, right? Now, that's not the catastrophe because they happen all the time, and we've been able to either cover them or fake them or prevent them through very bad monetary
policies.
Right. And then what's bad? Humping the stock market is just stupid. But private equity has bought up 80% of the hospitals, the healthcare. And what they do is they go in and they buy some organization. They strip it of its assets. They load it with debt. They pay themselves huge fees and bonuses. And then they sell the shell of a company, which is now effectively worthless, into the marketplace, like to pension funds, who are not smart enough to recognize that they just bought a piece of crap. And according to Gretchen Morgensen, a 47% bankruptcy rate. Now,
post-sale.
Post-sale. Now, as long as it's profitable to buy up viable companies, destroy them, sell the shell, and make money, money's too loose. Precious capital. If capital is of real value, it's a moat. So good businessmen can get capital, bad businessmen can't. The fact that BlackRock could buy single-family dwellings, which is a terrible business. You really can't make money unless there's a housing boom and you leverage up to hell. The fact that they can get it at an interest rate of 0.15% is a highly flawed system. And that's where the inventory went after 07 and 09. They got bought up by these guys who could lever up and then charge rents to people. So they basically scoop up the housing market. Now,
with free money.
With free money. Kind of free money. Unlike, credit cards, which are 25%, right?
And not just free. I mean, once you factor in inflation,
it's a gift. Yeah, it's profitable money.
You're literally just taking the loan as profitable.
Yes.
You don't have to do anything with it.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So here's what happened. Somehow the market has ceased to respond, and the reason the market's important is because of the wealth effect. And that is that if you own equities, you own a house, and they're soaring in price, your spending habits change. I'm having a great year, for example. So when the Bank of Dad has to provide some liquidity to the children, I feel okay about it, right? The problem is that it's a false wealth. It's not real wealth. It's a false wealth.
So the people trying to wreck our civilization want you to be passive. They want you weak so they can control you. Weakness is their goal. No thanks. Our friends at Beam, a proud American company, understand that our country can only be great if its people are strong. And that's why they've created a new creatine product to help listeners like you stay mentally sharp and physically fit. People like to mock creatine. CNN doesn't like creatine at all. People buy it because it works. Beam's creatine can help you improve your strength, your brain health, your longevity. It's completely free of sugar and synthetic garbage that's in almost everything else that you eat. Of course, you don't hear about it too much because, again, a population that is strong, clear-minded, and physically capable is a threat to tyrants. That's why they want you playing video games. To celebrate American strength, actual American strength, Beam is offering up to 30% off their best-selling creatine for the next 48 hours. Go to shopbeam.com/Tucker. Use the code Tucker at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Tucker. Use the code Tucker for up to 30% off. It's built on core values, integrity, results, no BS, Beam. We strongly recommend it.
So what happened? Well, I'm getting tired of seeing these. I see 4-year plots of the equity market, and they make various comparisons. I go, don't go back 4 years. Don't go back 40 years. Go back 120 years. So I follow about 25 metrics of valuation. Valuation is inherently a price of the market relative to something it ought to track. Whether it's the earnings, the revenues, the book value, a thing called Tobin's Q, the GDP, which is a fictional number, as I've heard you recently say. But I follow about 25 of them. So you've got to track when the markets have gotten expensive relative to the thing it ought to track. Now, around 1981, the markets were at the cheapest valuation, arguably in history. Inflation was scaring everyone, which is why they were cheap. It turns out that the boomers were just hitting the workforce. So demographics was a huge tailwind starting around then. And most economists agree demographics is huge. Now, I'm disingenuous in that I quote economists selectively. In the next sentence, I'll probably say something horrible about them. And so I'm obviously cherry picking my data, but economists like demographics. So the boomers hit the workplace, so it was almost guaranteed. I think Reagan was not important. I think he did some very important things, but I think whoever got to be president was going to be at the beginning of a boom. It turns out that China was coming out of the Dark Ages. They started selling labor at slave wages. They were so desperate for capital when they sent their leader, don't make me pronounce his name, to the United Nations when he first started opening up.
Is it Deng Xiaoping?
Yes. And they had to scrounge to get the money to send them. I mean, they really didn't have any foreign capital. And so I remember when China said, we're going to let our workers keep some of their profits. It's like, whoa. Russia Soviet Union had collapsed, but they were in trouble, so they were obviously cranking a resource base as hard as they could, and we had our guys in there helping them and stuff like that. And interest rates were at all-time highs. And if you read a 1999 article by Buffett, who I think is a hoser, I think he's much more of a stock jobber, much more of a conniver than he is. He loves to be the mafia don, walk around in a bathrobe saying, I'm harmless. He is not harmless. When we're in the bottom, he breaks all sorts of laws. They do all sorts of insider crap to bail the system out. But he pretends to just like Dairy Queen and Coca-Cola, whatever. He wrote an article in 99 that said, you want to understand secular, big, long, bull versus bear markets, it's all interest rates. He said, it's not GDP. He said, 67 to 81, everything sucked. It treaded water, not accounting for inflation, and the markets dropped 75% accounting for inflation. So it was a horrible period. He said, the GDP grew faster during that period than from 81 to 99. But interest rates from 67 to 81 went up monotonically. From 81 to 99, they went down. So we started in 81 with interest rates in the high teens. And over the next 40 years, they dropped to zero. That is absolutely the story. So when interest rates are dropping, risk assets go up.
Yep.
Because they're competing against it as it's cheaper. So bottom line is that we just enjoy 40-year recency bias.
Can you just explain that principle right there? You said as interest rates drop, risk assets go up.
Or you're going to buy shares of a stock, by the way, it's treated you like crap over the previous 14 years, or a bond that pays you 17%. Right? So the bonds become less, the fixed income become less attractive steadily for 40 years. Now, take the Case-Shiller PE, which is just one of the metrics, but I happen to like it. It's a kind of an averaged price-earnings ratio. It also doesn't allow you to cheat because it doesn't use the immediate, and forward PEs are stupid, but Case-Shiller averages, so I like it. If you take the Case-Shiller from 1880 to 1990, it just channels. It's a valuation metric, and it just goes up and down and up and down, and that's what it should do. It responds to things, but it stays in a channel. It's flat. Valuation metrics shouldn't trend. they should trend for a while, but then they should regress to the mean, unless someone can give me an argument why they should trend, and I don't think there is one. I've tried to find one. And then in 1990, they just kind of started to take off. And the Case-Shiller, so the Case-Shiller PE averaged around 12-13% for 110 years. And around 1990, oddly, 1994, in every metric is when things left. I think it was because of a bond problem or something. I haven't been able to quite figure out why. But the valuations went up. Now, here's the problem with valuations going up. And now they're astronomical. So the Case-Shiller PE averaged 13, which meant it was priced to return about 8% a year, right? If you think of it as a gas station, and you're paying, 13-to-1 earnings, you're getting about 8%. And that keeps pumping gas every year, you get about 13%. It is now 38. It's way above where it should be. It's a factor of 3, 200%. Now, if you assume it's never going to regress to the mean, now you're accepting, crudely speaking, a 2.5% return, not an 8. Now, if you're okay with 2.5%, that's fine. But by the way, most pensioners, most boomers are not planning on 2.5%.
They're not.
Right. Now, if it regresses to the mean, it's a 70% correction, assuming, if it's fast, assuming nothing else changes. No damage to the economy, all the bad things that happen when you lose 70% off the equity market, which is a questionable assumption. Another way to think about it, which I think is much clearer, is if you say, look, we'll just grow our way. And they could go up or down or up and down. You don't worry about the path. You say, if we grow 2.5% a year, which I just questioned as being valid, but let's assume it's valid. If we grow 2.5% a year, to get back to historical average of 13, will take 45 years. Now, here's the thing. I made no assumptions about good news, bad news. I assumed it's going to be like the 20th century. 2.5% a year. It'll be 45 years from now. I don't care what path you follow. If we are at the average Case-Shiller PE and the economy grew 2.5% a year, the equity markets will have returned capital gains 0.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.
I'm standing in front of the headquarters of a company that manages $10.6 trillion. That's more than half the United States GDP. Last time, I covered the shady consulting group McKinsey, and you guys asked for one thing. BlackRock. So here we are. BlackRock is the subject of a lot of speculation online.
There is a robot that controls more wealth than any country on earth. Green Commander-in-Chief is Larry Fink.
They have stock in 95% of Fortune 500 companies, and they've been hired by governments across the world to help manage financial crises and even just conduct normal operations. That means that pretty much any time you interact with the economy, working, buying stuff, driving a car, going to the bank, anything, you're interacting with BlackRock. But that $10.6 trillion isn't really their money. Don't worry, we'll come back to that. And they claim they're just passive investors, which seems harmless, right? While I love a good conspiracy, and I know there was a cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom logo, how much of a conspiracy is this really? I wanted to get to the truth behind BlackRock and the other nearly identical asset managers, State Street and Vanguard, known as the Big Three. Are they actively controlling the world and shaping it in their favor? Or are they passive investors just riding the wave of American economic expansion? Stay with me. We'll get to the spooky stuff soon, but first let's talk through some finance basics that give BlackRock their